All right, welcome everybody to OSINTCurious. This is episode 13, lucky number 13. This week, no one decided to be here, so it's just Kirby and I, and so that's what we got. Everyone else has been fired. Effectively, it's only Kirby and I from this point on. No one else can be part of OSINTCurious. No, I'm just kidding.
And all the audience leaves. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have a shortened, a very skeleton crew, but we've got a lot of good stuff to go through and talk about, so we will kind of get into it. Kirby, hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing? Glad that at least you and I can make it. I was almost ready to push it to next week because it was just going to be a few people, but we got it. We have it under control.
So the tough thing about moving into next week, too, is because Layer 8 is going to be next week. And,
oh, that's true.
Micah and I are both going to be out there. And doing it on Sunday when I've got to do flights on Sunday and stuff, like it's just, yeah. So better to go through and do something now and feed the people what we can, you know.
Good idea. Good point.
Yep. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so we will get started. Thank you to all the panelists and all that stuff, or all the participants and everyone to show up. You know, so we see a couple people out there.
Yes.
All right, this is the first thing that I pulled out. This is from the IEEE conference on computer vision and pattern recognition. This just came out today from what I found. This is speech to face. So this is a project that MIT and CSAIL are doing to actually look at speech patterns, and then actually that will form into this algorithm they have, and then they'll be able to determine someone's facial features and it looks like ethnicity. From just speech patterns. Have you heard anything about this? Have you seen this?
I saw the news articles on it, and this is more than deep face in that they only need one picture.
So they don't need a picture at all.
Oh, okay.
This is just audio. So for reference, they have all the pictures up here of the people, and then down here after the audio clip, and I'll play a little one here. So this is Daniel Craig.
Oh, okay. This is different than the one I was thinking about. There was news of one project where they had, like, for example, the Mona Lisa, one photo or one image of a person's face, and they can make them talk and look around.
And we will get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
That actually kind of popped off as well. So a lot of deep fake stuff, a lot of technology kind of using different parts of either audio or video or even still pics to go through and either create or embody, like you were saying, like the pictures like the Mona Lisa and things like that. But this was real interesting because it was able to go through and pick up different cadence for people's voice and how the voice comes out to go through and kind of make a educated guess of what the features of the person would be. So it could be kind of interesting in the long run to see if you only had an audio clip of somebody, how to go through and to use that as a pattern recognition thing in OSINT. That's
okay. Yeah, I'm seeing where this is going. Interesting. I didn't see this one earlier, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's very, very scary. I don't think they're releasing their code this time because they do have some privacy concerns, which I think are valid. But I think this is a different angle than a lot of people have been working, because everyone's been working the visual side of things. Everyone's working, you know, either the video side with the deep fakes, you know, the overlays of people already talking, or the other way of people talking and then kind of transmuting that into, you know, a live painting type thing or whatever else. So the audio side is kind of different, and I kind of wanted to go through and showcase that because I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, really interesting. I'm going to have to look further into that. I wonder what they'd say that I look like.
Yeah, that's what I want too. I almost want a dedicated portal or something where you can go through and upload things, and then it shoots out like what their algorithm says. I don't know that I want that recorded, but it would be interesting to go through and see, like, if especially actors who have the ability to go through and change their.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. So, you know, a British actor who does an American accent, you know, does it give them a different picture? You know, what's the audio quality stuff? Is there something I can do off a voicemail type thing? You know, I'm looking more on the investigative side, but it's very interesting that this, you know, this is the alpha kind of test, the 1.0 stuff. So we've already seen with the deep fakes and all that stuff how much that's progressed just over the last, what, maybe year, 2 years. So
right.
we'll see how that stuff.
Well, okay, there's something else going on with the voice as well, and you might be getting to it, but where there was I don't know, somebody posted about possibly using voice as your password, only how bad that would be, because there's hours of people's voices online. For example, hours, even just in this podcast. But then I was listening to Fraudcast podcast a little bit, and they were talking about how some banks were using voice, but also in conjunction with the code in some cases. So you would call in, and they would say, here, you'd have to say, here's my code, and read out the code back or something. So it would be voice and code together. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not heard a lot about that. I know that there's been talk about using voice as because voice, like fingerprint, should have its own unique signature in some things. But you're right. There's a lot of high fidelity audio equipment that just has the ability to go through and record that stuff, or you could just strip the audio off of YouTube and things like that, and then just edit down what you want it to go through and say. So it's,
Right.
even if it's a password reset, there has to be some formalized way to go through and do that. And if it's all audio, then yeah, kind of crazy.
And then there's also the case where sometimes siblings have very similar voices, because I know that my sister and I, very, very similar voice.
Yep. So my dad and I were the same way. When I would answer the phone, they would say, "Oh, whatever, Mr. Ginsburg."
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, this is his son. But yeah, so same thing. Yeah. And I wonder how. I mean, so you think about that as well with people who either drink or smoke or have a cold. So it would be really bad if you couldn't get into your bank account because you had the flu that week.
Right.
So,
Right.
No, it's tough. It's interesting, and in a repeatable sense, however, especially maybe for a social engineering attack or for tracking people, whatever, like in an OSINT investigation or something. It's interesting to go through and think about that stuff. I'm glad that we bring things like that up that are just a little bit off of the beaten OSINT path, because I want to stay on top of that stuff, because it's interesting to follow the development of that stuff.
Right.
Yep.
All
Okay,
right.
cool.
What's next?
Next one, I'm going to kind of throw to you because you kind of had a little. That's not how we do that. You had a little blurb on this on Twitter saying whoever was, kind of following you on or stalking you on stock stories. Thanks. So.
Yeah, I saw this. I'm not going to go into how I saw this because I feel like I don't want to give away that secret, although I probably will, because I tell everybody everything in general. But I saw that somebody was looking at my stuff through stalker stories, and I went and looked at it and it's a pretty cool tool, because I mean, I was using Chrome IG Story, and I still am, because even though it's taken out of the web store, I still have it, and I'm never giving it up. Well, I don't know, maybe I will. Who knows? But this thing, you put somebody's username in there, you go to their page, and Gins, do you have stories on right now?
Nope.
Go ahead and, you have some stories ready to go?
Nope, I don't have any stories.
So you go look at my page instead, because I always have stories. My art page. Go to my art, Kirby Plessas art, and that is the one where they were looking at. So
there's a
Kirby Plessas, 2 S's, AS art. Yeah, because I have some stories there, I think. I'm pretty sure. All right. One user. And so this tool is when you visit a user page on Instagram, you have to be logged in to get to their stories in the first place. And then when you look at their stories, your username ends up in their stories. And this hides it. So no, we're not looking at that stuff. Go scroll up to the top again. And I don't know what, around my profile picture, there should be a pink ring. And I'm not seeing it, but maybe it didn't load. Yeah, so if you click on no, not the profile picture itself. Click in the middle of the profile picture, not on the search icon. Just click right in the middle.
No, well, let me do anything.
Oh, you might have to be logged in to see that too.
Maybe so, because I'm not logged into Instagram right now.
Yeah, but go ahead and log. Okay, so I'm not going to make you log in, but if you're logged into Instagram, because if you're not logged in, you won't see the pink ring anyway. So that's probably what's required. You do need to be logged in and using this tool. And then there'll be a pink ring, and you can actually see the stories, and I won't be able to see your name showing up as having looked at my stories.
That's crazy. Okay, so you still have to log in, so there's still traffic going through there or whatever, but you don't get notified of anyone looking at your stories and stuff.
Right. Yeah, you're not putting your name on that person's stories if they've seen you through there. And I did get someone replied to me and gave me another resource for that sort of thing, but I haven't tested it yet. So.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people putting a lot of focus on Instagram. It's a highly visual medium, which is nice and whatever, and it's very, very searchable, hashtags and all that other stuff, whatever. It's
but it's
also
not as searchable as Facebook. It's some things are difficult.
Yep. Yeah, you have to almost rely on the people to go through and to tag themselves in things to go through and make it searchable. But like the first day new badge, first day new job type that
hashtag
stuff. Whatever.
Things, yeah. If you're searching within Facebook or within Instagram, rather, you do. Which is sometimes I tell people search outside of it, even though Google's not great at indexing it. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
But this tool actually, it does grab those hashtags too, and it does grab. It's kind of interesting because it'll grab tags that aren't officially hashtags. So, for example, if you go back one page, put my username in there again. Because you saw that there was hashtags and tags, but my username is not usually as a hashtag, but when you end up finding, you got an extra A in there. And actually you got it spelled wrong just altogether. So it's
I'm really bad at spelling.
Yeah. Plessas.
I should know that.
So when you go in there and it says that there's a user and a tag, one hashtag, that's not really a hashtag, but if you click on that, this is interesting, I think, as well. Click on the Kirby Plessas art, and the 13 isn't part of the hashtag, but go and click on that. And it shows you people sharing my work forward, not me.
Oh,
they may never have tagged me. They're sharing my work forward. You see that little tag in the bottom there, that of each picture, that's saying that they used an app to pull me into their stuff.
That's crazy.
That may never get tagged on my page, but this might be one of the only places to even find that stuff.
Yeah. Because and it's. I wonder if we follow it all the way through.
Yeah, go ahead and click into one of those. All right. So then she did tag me on this one. You can see my name there, but where's that hashtag? She didn't have to, and it was pulling it from the hashtag. Probably that this tool that she used automatically made, and I wouldn't have put my own name as a hashtag, but now I know you should be searching on that as well. Search on somebody's username as a hashtag, and you could probably again find that in Instagram if you know that their username is going to be a hashtag.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on.
Yeah, stalker stories. So for the people who are on the podcast, can't listen to whoever, we're just reviewing a tool. The tool is called Stalker Stories, and that is for Instagram searching and
in the show notes.
Other fun stuff. Yeah, it'll be there. All right, so next one, same. I'm going to let you go through and dig into this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, scroll to the top first, though.
Yeah, I know that we've been playing with this in some of the Slack groups and in the OSINT.team type thing.
Cool.
This is the formula for searching Facebook. This is the Facebook matrix that the Kirby's kind of shared out in the Google Doc and stuff for a long time. Finally has a home, so this is amazing. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we had it on. We had it in the Google Doc, and we had a shortener going to it. We had IsGood going to it, but IsGood doesn't trust Google Docs, so you'd go to IsGood, and then there'd be a funky link, and then you could click through to it. And so finally I said, well, it's really ugly there as well, so we took the top section off of it and kind of embedded it right here, and then made it a lot cleaner and set it up. So yeah, so also if anybody has new queries to add, there you go. But you can see that, we kind of gave the idea, how to get the ID, how to, some of the directories. I just added a couple new directories. I'm finding some weird directories right now. So
yeah, that's awesome.
New ones show up eventually. Yeah, if you reload it, you'll see some new directories in there, but they're nothing special right now except for Marketplace maybe, because I think the Marketplace one is going to be useful.
Yeah, Marketplace, directory events, not working.
Yeah, so again, in the Marketplace section, it's just, you can just go by city and you can hone in on a city, and then you get to that city section, you can filter out the type of things you're looking for. There you go. All right, let's go down to the bottom section, and this is just an embed of that document, so you can kind of just scroll through there, and we can't see the first part of it right now. We can only see like variations. There we go. The searching on the far left is the best part. So you're fine as far as up and down, but shift us over so we can see the other side.
Sure. Oh, come on. It will not let me move the stuff.
Now we can go toward the top. Okay, yeah. So you can see like how everything that's in red is what you're going to replace with a number, and then you're going to put the rest of these formulas in, and then at the top it talks about at the very top it says use intersect to combine them. So then you can take any of these or the variations, which is in the third column, kind of mix and match. And I know that I don't have all of the possible combinations, but this is just something to kind of give you a jumping off point to kind of play with. And I see something right there that I read, but yeah. Something I've had for a long time. I just wanted to put it in a more formal place. And we have a few other things coming up here soon too. We've got a whole revamp of our portal going on right now. We've got a whole bunch of other resources we're going to stick in that section where the Facebook
nice.
Is. So.
No, that's good. Yeah. So, and this combined with like the Facebook matrix that was on, what was it? OSINT Online or OSINT, there's OSINT Combine, I think it is. And if I get that wrong, I'll try to go through and change it in the show notes. We actually kind of talked about that either last episode or the episode before. It was a dedicated OSINT portal, and it was the left side matrix and then the bottom, and then you could see where they match up. So this in conjunction with that, however, kind of works together. But this is really nice to go through and to check out a lot of the stuff that people maybe have missed. But it's very, very user-friendly on this side as well. So this works. I'm just hoping you guys are seeing the same thing I am. So we'll see how all that stuff works out. I've got a bigger monitor.
There's page 2 to this as well soon. Examples.
I'm sorry?
There's going to be a page 2. If you look at the bottom, there's a tab. The bottom of this section here. Oh,
coming with
yes. Well, okay, right above coming soon example searches, it says matrix. And that's just the tab for the page. There's going to be a second tab there eventually. It'll be.
Oh, gotcha. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I think as pervasive as Facebook is, it's still one of the leading places to go through and do a lot of research on. I'm dead against Facebook, but that's another personal story or whatever. So I don't really care. I think there's a lot of actionable information on there and stuff. So.
Yeah, and even if people aren't using it anymore, so people are moving off of Facebook, and okay, so that is kind of bad for investigations, and yet it's still good because it is. Even though they're moving off, if they don't delete their account, it still has a lot of information.
Yeah, OSINT Combine, this was the matrix you were talking about earlier, and this is dedicated. The good thing about some of Kirby's stuff is that it is kind of something you can go through. It's more like I don't want to say scripting or URL jacking or anything else like that, but you can actually go through and
fuzzing.
Yeah.
And it's like taking out the middleman, because that's one of the things that look, this matrix looks cool right here that we're looking at, but some things are just like, put your information in our page and we'll pop it out. When it's like, no, I can just pop it out myself,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I want to be able to reproduce the stuff, whatever. And if for some reason, and this isn't anything against OSINT Combine, like he has amazing or they have amazing stuff, whatever. But if their site goes down or if I'm not able to replicate the stuff, whatever, I would like to be able to go through and replicate the URL instance myself. Make sure that I know that the Facebook ID that I'm trying to join with whatever the search term is, whatever is accessible beyond any device that I'm using. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
But this is a really good source.
I'll actually add this one as a resource at the bottom of mine.
Absolutely, yeah. The more the merrier with that stuff, and like this, and then if you get into like stock scan and stuff like that or whatever for more of a visual representation.
And I do have that one at the bottom of mine as well.
Yeah.
I try to keep it kind of simple, like researchclinic.net/Facebook. Yep. I have that one as well because that's a pretty cool list as well.
This is just an article. I found a couple articles that I wanted to just briefly kind of touch on. People who are in kind of the research for darknet stuff or deep web stuff know that there's been a lot of seizures, a lot of Interpol and FBI seizures. Now, a majority of them have been darknet markets and things like that. So I thought this was kind of interesting. So it looks like maybe the powers that be that are wanting to go through and shut down stuff on the deep web are focusing a lot more towards the markets, and I think that's appropriate because it's a tangible good for them to go through and try to get rid of, and it shows actionable results, and it ties directly to kind of the physical space of stuff, so they can track it by not only doing it just over Tor and things like that, but they can also loop in any sort of mail fraud, any investigations and that stuff, any deliveries, and there's a lot more potential for human error. I just thought it was interesting that they are prioritizing it over some of the other hacking forums and stuff, especially with as much as we've heard about from, Eternal Blue and other things, and that stuff being spread in hacking forums and stuff. So it's just something I brought up, just if anybody has an interest in darknet market stuff or in, hacker forums and things like that, or it's just an insight in regards to what
I train.
Yeah.
I train a lot of dark web, and I'm going to tell you why this happens. It's because hacking forums are harder to get. So the hacking stuff can be 100% virtual. So you pay them in virtual funds, they give you virtual stuff. So it's a lot harder. If you have a forum, like a marketplace that also sells drugs, those drugs are physical things, and that's where an easier way to kind of get into this. So it's not that they're not looking at the hacking forums. They are, like it says, prioritizing the drug ones, getting the easy, low-hanging fruit first.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Those stuff can be gotten. I mean, the digital ones, definitely, you can bust those. But again, they're really focusing on what's easier to get, and anything where there's a physical part to it is going to be way easier.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too that I bring up constantly in any sort of training or talks that I give, especially for deep net or darknet market stuff like that. Is a lot of the darknet stuff is a lot more physical goods. You may have credit cards and identification and things like that are being traded and sold and things like that, Netflix accounts, all that stuff, whatever's on there. But there are a lot more physical goods being sold and shipped on there than people may realize or encounter, and not just drugs, but other things as well. So it is something that's a little more tangible to, if you see it popping up somewhere, that gives you an end thread to go through and pull back on and kind of work your way up to where it was sold from. So you have at least 2 points of connection at that point. So you can kind of work both sides to find out what's in the middle there, which is nice. But yeah, I saw that, and I kind of wanted to just bring it up just because it is something in our purview there. So next one, this was shared by Fossa on OSINT.teams. I think Sector picked it up and put it up on Twitter as well, Sector 35. This is kind of more an investigative side, and it does tack a little bit into OSINT because he got into this gentleman went across the deserts with a pair of glasses that had a camera in it, and he followed some human traffickers and kind of discovered what they did by being part of that horde. So this was another kind of eye on Africa, the BBC stuff, which I know Sector and a couple other people have participated in. So this was a really, really cool kind of insight in regards to how human traffickers are looked at, found, and then what practices they kind of used and stuff. So I don't know if anybody else was looking at this, but I thought I'd at least bring this up. So it's kind of interesting. Did you heard about this or see anything about this?
I haven't. But it makes sense. I mean, people make fun of the old Google Glass and the spectacles from Snapchat, but it really is a useful thing that you can use in multiple ways besides getting, of course, video, getting all those geo coordinates, and grabbing audio, because audio obviously important as well, as we're finding out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and also, we love to think that we can go through and retain information and the exact detail of everything that happens as well, and we know that that's faulty. There's been a ton of cases where the witness, the three witnesses that were right in front of the occurrence that happened, where we all can tell completely different stories. So having it on video and things like that are one of those redundancies that help people go through and identify stuff and make sure that it's not conjecture at that point. So it's kind of good. Next thing I want to go through and kind of look at was there was a tool. Hold on here. There was a tool called Loot Leaker that just came up, and it's definitely in the vein of OSINT, and we've looked at tools from this person before. I'm gonna murder the name, and I apologize. I know that this person puts out a lot of information on Medium as well, does a lot of very good social media and OSINT type work. The tool again is called Loot Looker, and basically, Yeah, basically what it does is it looks for open databases, and it uses Shodan as a search engine for all that stuff there. And Spiderfoot is an amazing tool. Spiderfoot has its own development kind of forum on the OSINT.team site. So if anyone has any questions, I know just the other day there was someone asking about the destinations that the guy was getting emails and human name and all the other stuff from, and he was saying, how do I go through and actually attach this back to, you know, where it came from, what source, what module, and Steve actually got on there and worked the guy through the whole thing. It was really cool to see it live. But we're bringing this up now because I don't know if anybody else uses Spiderfoot HX. It was an open beta couple months, actually it's damn near almost a year now, I think, for this stuff. And Steve has gone through and said that they're going to, beginning June 25th, they're going to close the open beta and it's going to move to more of a paid model. So we just wanted to go through and kind of announce that stuff. I think it's a good thing. I'm seeing a lot of OSINT tools going towards kind of paid models, which is always a sad thing for individual researchers, but it's nice because it means that the open source community can continue to go through and build and have funds and things like that, which we all understand. But Kirby, do you use Spiderfoot a lot?
I don't. I do support it though, and I do have my intern working on it right now. So nice. He's going to write a report on, you know, and this is his first introduction into OSINT at all, is Spiderfoot.
Wow, that's
I know
cool.
He's having a great time with it. He's really excited. The one thing that I would say is that I like it when people start getting paid for their OSINT tools. I always hope they give a little bit of a free taste to everybody though, so that people who have no budgets can get stuff done.
Yep. So, and I should clarify in regards to the two projects that he runs. So he has Spiderfoot, which is the GitHub project, which is 100% able to be downloaded. Anybody can go through and use it as long as you import all the API tools and things like that. However, you can run it locally on your own machine. That I think will continue to go through and be free for usage anytime. And what that does is that allows you to go through and run it locally. So it uses your own bandwidth and cycles to go through and make sure that you can, you know, look through your investigations. It also, there's not a lot of limiting in regards to, or the APIs or whatever you sign up for, which again, more paid tools, things like that. But it's kind of on your own reconnaissance to go through and to make sure that you're getting those tools. So Spiderfoot HD is a cloud version of the same software. You still have to go through and input your own API keys, but there are some API keys that he's registered and it just works. So this doesn't rely on your local machine. You can access this stuff from anywhere. So it is kind of nice if you're traveling or if you just need to bump something up real quick, whatever. It does not require root. It's a very, very clean interface. I'll show you a little bit of some of the stuff. So I've been working on some things, and some of the stuff is test material. Like I was just taking IP addresses that were on abuse IP that were being listed and being blacklisted and things like that. So I was bumping them up together. The correlations are really, really nice because it does go through and tell you where it was blacklisted from, the critical vulnerability. You know, there's some on here that have like open desktop port, you know, was it 3389 for RDP and stuff like that. So it'll pop those things as well, but it will allow you to go through the different visualizations as well. So on the standard one for the GitHub, it only has a couple different node kind of maps and things like that, and they're fine. It's not bad at all, but this gives you some different visualization styles that you can maybe put in for the C-level stuff. Yeah, it is a slick tool. It really deserves to be a paid thing. Mm-hmm. But even this visualization, you know, they come out and they actually show you where some of the key servers are and then those hubs around them. They'll show you malware. They'll show you personal identification stuff. So it really is a very nice mapping visualization tool that gets the data into a form where humans can kind of take a look at it and say, this is really neat. So wanted to go through and give a shout out to him as well, just because it is sunsetting for the private beta for the cloud service. It's still something that I believe people should pay for if they use it. But like I said, the GitHub version is still available and free on there. So
yeah, and I'm surprised as a tool, all along it was how free it was. We are expecting to get him on as a guest, hopefully in the future.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be great. Okay, so the next one's kind of back to more of a story thing. I don't know if anybody else has kept up with this. There was a United Nations person who entered Tunisia and had an SDR, which is so it's software-defined radio. You can use it in Sigint and some of the other tools as well. But it's something that you can put in with a Raspberry Pi or a computer. There's actually an OS now called Sigint Os, which as long as you have an SDR dongle, a software-defined radio dongle, which is a piece of hardware, you can actually go through and look for any sort of signals intelligence. So you can look for radio wave traffic, broadband traffic. You can look for military signals. You can look for scanning, anything that not microwave, microphone signals and things like that. So anything that you can go through and check into that, you can pick that up into kind of one of those waterfall diagrams, and it's just the bandwidth that you search. So this has been used for a while, and I have a fascination with SDR and software-defined radio stuff. I'm not quite to the ham radio level of nerd yet, but software-defined is good enough for me. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because it's a $22 piece of equipment you can pick up from Amazon. And if you happen to be traveling with it, just know that there are some countries that will not allow you in their country without seriously talking to you about this or just putting you in jail. And that's what happened to this person who was working for the United Nations. They were using it for a completely legitimate purpose. They wanted to go through and track to make sure, I think it was for airplane signals, to make sure that they could go through and test that stuff. And they didn't get the okay of the Tunisian government prior to bringing this there. And so when they went through and they found it in the customs stuff, they immediately locked the guy down. So just this is more of a cautionary tale than anything else, but it is something that's kind of been followed up on. So Kirby, do you do anything with SDR or software-defined radio stuff or signal?
Well, when you mentioned that stuff, I don't do anything with it now, but my background is Sigint.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, for
me, it's like, okay, it's just like, you can do your own image now, you can do your own Sigint now, pretty much everything. So. Yep.
So, like I said, I just wanted to go through and bring that up just because it's a kind of a sad thing, but it's the same thing with lockpicks. It's the same thing with almost anything else that we do in either InfoSec or in OSINT is, there are some things that you can bring into a country. There are some things you can bring into a state. And then at that point, there are some others. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, you're checking your own OPSEC and making sure that whatever you're bringing in is legal and is above board on that.
I got an example for that too. It's not necessarily illegal in the country, but I had a killer laser pointer, right?
Oh,
a really nice one. And I was taking it to different classes. I took it with me to the Netherlands. Netherlands lets that in. It's not a problem. But trying to leave through Schiphol Airport, I got the police called on me. They told me that I was like, they made me stay there for a while at the security. Then they confiscated it. I was like, at the beginning, I was just like, okay, fine, just take it. They were telling me, you could be pointing this in your pilot's eyes. And I'm like, from the back of the plane?
Yep.
But yes, they confiscated my killer laser pointer. My brother-in-law sent me a new one, and that stays home.
Yeah. No, it's different things. I know that it's a big thing with knives and stuff like that as well. But it's just
Well, this is something that I never had a problem in the U.S. airports, and right. I think that I don't have problems in other European airports. So
yeah, no, it's interesting. Like I said, some things you just don't know what the authorities are going to go through and have us think about until you get there and you're like, oh, I can't have this because okay, this is stupid. But yeah. Not say stupid, just it's unfortunate.
Different.
So, okay, so next article I wanted to get into. This was kind of interesting. I wanted to give a shout out to Nick's Intel on Twitter at Nick's Intel. He put an article up on his blog about OSINT and using gap analysis. So the basis of the article is we have tons and tons and tons of intelligence that we gather in regards to whatever investigation we're looking at or whatever. So how do you go through and to sort the intelligence? How do you get to the end conclusion? Like, what are you using? And so he's kind of going through and talking about gap intelligence to go through and try to assume we have this, there's a gap in the middle, but we know the two endpoints where we can kind of carry the conclusion forward. So he does a really good job kind of putting in like the same thing that Dutch and everybody else kind of say, whatever, but Dutch is most known about it. It's like asking the right questions so that you know where your investigation is kind of leading to. You know, you can go through and you can OSINT the hell out of anything you want, but if you're not looking for something specific, you'll go down so many different rabbit holes that it really doesn't go through and help you with the stuff. So it gets into a lot of the gap analysis and so, you know, how it's used to be a very simple and effective way to go through and focus the investigation on the important stuff and avoid, you know, going down the confusing tangents and rabbit holes. And I'm quoting directly from his little article right here there. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick kind of shout out to him. Nixon you know, I think he's started following us a little ago. Him and I have followed each other for a little while in regards to OSINT and stuff. I think he's actually on the OSINT.Teams Rocket Chat site as well. So just I found this very good, and it's very, very easy to read. It does give a lot of actionable information on here as well. So if you have any questions about how to go through and do the actual investigation after you've gotten tons and tons and tons of data, what do you do with it? If you're missing some pieces, but you have two that you think correlate, you know, what do you do? It works out. So
right on.
Yep.
Okay.
It's got good stuff in there. Okay. The next two things that I want to kind of look up are back over in Reddit land. And as everyone knows, Reddit is the face of the internet. So it is one of those things where if you can find information that maybe has been deleted from Reddit, it can be very, very good for investigation. This comes from Dutch OSINT guy as well. This was in a tweet that he had put out saying, hey, if you're looking online through Reddit for investigation stuff and you want to see deleted Reddit comments, there is a site called Resavr. It's resavr.com, and that's for deleted Reddit comments. And then when he started talking about that, someone else, and I apologize, I'll have to go through and find who actually tagged this, but it's in the thread of the tweet there. There was another one that was called Removed It, REMOVEDDIT, so Removed It, Reddit kind of thing. And it's a little, I don't want to say clunkier, but it just gives a list of all the removed kind of topics and things like that, however. So I
have a question about these.
Sure.
Okay, so what I'm seeing in these is it's just showing the ones that got removed. It seems to be like in just kind of maybe reverse chronological order or something like that. Yep. But you're familiar with Set-It, right?
I have not seen Set-It.
Okay, so go to one of those removed comments in Reddit. Go to click into and see if we can get to the post where it was removed.
Sure.
So like from here, see if we can get to the actual Reddit page where it was. Right? So the thread. Not that one, the thread.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, so from here, up at the top in Reddit, where it says reddit.com in your URL.
Yep.
Switch the R for Reddit. Just the letter R.
Okay. Push the letter R.
No. Switch it from the letter R to the letter C.
Oh.
So delete the R and put a C there. Now hit enter. And this is how I undelete Reddit stuff. So wait until this loads, and it should highlight in red anything deleted. So scroll down and see where the deleted content is, because that one kind of highlighted that there was deleted content, but it didn't really say where. So just keep scrolling. It should show up in bright red.
Okay. You won't
miss it. Trust me.
I was gonna say, because sometimes colors on fonts and stuff like that, I'm like, what?
No, you'll know when you see it. So, and a lot of times the deleted stuff gets demoted as far as the order if we're on top, but there you go.
Nice.
So this is how I undelete, because the other one doesn't see, like if you're in, I guess those ones are more like you'll see that stuff was deleted, but here, if you're looking at a thread and you see something that says deleted, this undeletes it for you.
Wow.
With the user.
So it tells you why it was removed. It tells you the auto manner. Okay.
Yeah. Occasionally it misses some content removed by moderators because sometimes the moderators get to it too fast.
Sure.
And there's also kind of a way to defeat it too if you want to game this. So what happens is instead of just deleting your comment, you edit it and then you leave it up for a few minutes, then you delete it, and then Set-It will get your edit. So
that's cool.
Yeah. This is how I use it.
No, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so then there's 3 that we're talking about there. That's awesome, and we'll have to add that to the show notes as well. So
right. I didn't see that as tweets. Otherwise, I definitely would have chimed up into those.
Yeah, and I had it pulled up earlier, but then I had the whole snafu and all that, so whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we're kind of coming up on a little bit of the hour, so I want to go through some of these other last things real quick. One of them was Week in OSINT, Sectors project that he does. This one was especially kind of awesome, and I don't know why. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. It talked about a couple different things that I had already seen, but I didn't know he was going to put that in there. So Harpoon is it's a GitHub project. It's a lot like Buscador, where it has a lot of API keys and things like that, but it's kind of a framework for OSINT, but it's specific to drilling into the stuff there. Let's see if I can, yeah, get that. Let me know if you can see this stuff here on Harpoon.
Oh yeah, we see it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a very, very simple to load in OSINT tool. Has a lot of different things inside of the usage that it does. It's a lot more, I would say, web and DNS based, but it does have a lot of tie-ins for APIs as well. So it kind of copies a little bit of what Spiderfoot does, but it's maybe a different way to go through and kind of reach some of that stuff. So that is Harpoon, and we'll
multiple ways are good.
Yeah.
Multiple ways good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because for verification, redundancy, you want to make sure that you can do that stuff. The other one that I saw, and I haven't really looked in the ATP and cyber criminals. That was actually kind of a cool thread. This one down here, Cardpone. Mm-hmm. This is more of kind of like it searches for credit cards. Just in the reverse search aspect, if I had a credit card I was tracking, or if I had a honeypot credit card that I had somebody out there and I wanted to go through and see what organizations were trying to go through and steal my stuff and where it's being used, this may be a way to go through and track that stuff. And I haven't seen any card-specific kind of OSINT tools. And this may be more of like a hacker dumpy kind of tool, whatever. But I think if there one of the fields I kind of see in OSINT emerging is financial OSINT or fraud OSINT, things like that. Financial people that need to go through and backtrace stuff. And I can see using some prepaid accounts or something else as a honeypot kind of situation to go through and see what organizations are trying to scrape your information. So this may be something that I play with in the future, but I just wanted to kind of point that out. And then one of the last things that I thought was on here is there is a new list from, I believe it's called Red Labs, and Red Hunt Labs, and it's another list of OSINT tools. They're out there, and but Ivy McAvely's got one, FOSSA, there are a couple of the people that hold really, really cool OSINT lists and tell you like what domains you can use the tools in. I really like this one because it is kind of a little more up to date, but it does have networking, port scanning, business infrastructure. It has source code aggregators, cloud infrastructure, because cloud is beginning to be a big thing, and so searching inside those cloud buckets and things like that are becoming more of a necessary thing, I think. Just some other cool stuff. And like I said, it's github.com/Red Labs or Red Hunt Labs. Sorry. And the document is called Awesome Asset Discovery. So it's more for kind of the red teaming, OSINT, adversarial conversation type stuff, but it does have a lot of neat stuff in there. And so, some of the stuff obviously very, very common to what we already use: Shodan, Census, ZoomEye, Cache View, Wayback Machine, things like that. Kind of staples in the OSINT community, but there are some other things as well, password dumps, data leaks, and other things like that may or may not be in your scope, so use as you see fit. So let's see. So that's kind of all I got in regards to the news.
Okay. Yeah. Let's we have a comment over from the chat. Awesome. About the U.S. requesting social media. It's actually a link, maybe something to look into, it says, and it is about U.S. now requiring social media accounts. I saw some people were posting some of those accounts, like the requests for the accounts. I haven't really looked too close into it, but it says, it's got a list of different accounts that if you've ever had them within the last 5 years, you're supposed to give up your usernames or email addresses you had, that sort of thing. And it's very specific about which accounts, which is interesting because WeChat's not on it and TikTok's not on it. And I mean, if they're going to do something like that, they got to know that these things come and go. They don't like, here's the only ones you need to ask for. This stuff is like so fluid. Also, how are you going to force that? I mean, maybe they'll give you the ones that are pretty clear, which theoretically they would find under your name anyway. So, not sure.
But if you're using handles or if you're using sock puppet accounts, are they trying to go through and trace it via IP and see what's in your network, or are they saying? I don't understand what the purpose of this either is. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure it's just to make it easier for them to identify, your motives and that sort of thing. But the thing is, like, so if I go to another country and they say, give me your social media accounts, I'm going to give them all the ones that tie to my human person, but maybe I have others.
Yeah.
And if I don't give them the others, I mean, how am I just helping them kind of give this investigation a kick, or are they going to go now and look to see if there are others? Or I don't really know what the purpose is, because maybe it's just to make it easier on the investigators, but I'm not sure.
Is this more also for a verification type thing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this
I think so.
where they're yeah. And so then do I give them my VK, if I have Russian, or like you said, TikTok, which is primarily, I think it's owned by Chinese conglomerates, I think. Mm-hmm. So, how big does the social media platform have to be before I go through and disclose that I'm on it? So, I mean, do I have to disclose that I'm on 4chan as well, because that's anonymous? But, so yeah, I'm confused about the requirements of this stuff. But it's interesting to see that this stuff is playing an effect, especially considering that, like, all you need is a telephone number to go through, and there's no other verification. So, this isn't something like, LinkedIn or whatever has a little bit more verification, just because you can have other people who are in your physical organization endorse you. But that's easily manipulated as well. And then if you don't, it's very, very easy to go through and say, well, I deleted my Facebook account, and then someone else come in and open a Facebook account in your name, in your hometown, because they just edited it for that. So I don't know. I don't know what they're planning on getting out of that stuff, because this isn't like the Chinese social media stuff where you have to go through and tag it to your identity. So I don't know.
No, it's definitely kind of interesting to see what is going to come out of it. Okay, then we had a Twitter question. So someone said they have a ton of data, images, text, and videos, and wants to organize it for data mining and drawing connections. Does anybody have some suggestions for how to store this data, or any tutorials about storage? And I thought maybe there might be a tutorial on Techniset's page. As far as storing the data, oh boy. Yeah. I would say, first of all, you definitely want some link analysis program to be able to get to it in storage, wherever that storage is. So something that either Analyst Notebook or even Casefile and Maltego can get to. But I don't have a lot of experience with actually the storage part of it, content management part. What do you think?
Well, I was going to ask, so do you store everything on your local device, or if you have like investigation notes and stuff like that, do you go through and do you like a lot of the stuff that I will try to work on, I will try to go through and keep separated, at least drive-wise, from my computer. I still use it to go through and access, but I'll put it on like an SD card or a thumb drive or something else like that, so I know where it is. So there's some data segregation that I try to go through and do. That also works because if I plug it into a specific machine, and I know, like you said, either Maltego, I don't have Analyst Notebook anymore. I played with it for a little while. But it's still pretty expensive, so I can't get that back.
Yeah, I think that's about $8,000 a year. So
yeah, it's a little bit much out of my range. Yeah.
Casefile's free. Maltego is only under $2K a year.
No shit, right? Yeah. There are some other. Like Hunchly's obviously a very good one for analyzing some of the stuff. Whatever. It's more for while you're in the middle of the investigation.
Right. I think the things like storage of videos, though.
Yeah.
When you start thinking you have a lot of storage, where do you put them? I don't usually have that much. And I know there's some great content management tools out there, but I don't know what they are. So I think that's something maybe we'll just put out to the universe, and maybe we can kind of kick it forward to the next one and see if anybody.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll put it over on OSINT.team as well, because I know there's a lot of people that do image stuff on there. There's some conflict, people that we're trying to go through and identify, people who may be in atrocities and things like that. So they may have a little bit better answer. So we'll go through and kick it over there, see if someone answers it, and then we'll bring it back to OSINTCurious and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I think that's the end of the content for today. Now we have the shameless self-promotion, so go for
it. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, I'll let you go first with that stuff.
Okay, mine's pretty easy. Besides my Facebook matrix, I do have 2 events that are wide open for anybody to join as long as they have a connection to law enforcement. So that could be, for example, district attorneys, et cetera, as well. Only 1 week left to do our Houston class, and then we have another class in Dallas in July, and those are at plessas.com/events.
That's awesome. And make sure you spell it right, unlike me.
You're right.
Yes.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yes, it will be in the show notes and all that as well. Okay, awesome. So for Micah, and this kind of ties into stuff that I'm doing as well, he is going to be speaking at Layer 8 next weekend. So if you are going to Layer 8, make sure that you check out his talk. And Layer 8, just a basic overview. I think we talked a little bit before. Layer 8 is a conference. It's a 1-day conference that is specific on OSINT and social engineering. So not specifically those two together, but OSINT on one side, social engineering on another. It's out in Providence, Rhode Island. It is, I think, it's the 8th, July 8th. So it's a full day there. I will actually be running the OSINT Village out there. We have partnered again with Trace Lab to go through and do the missing persons capture the flag, which was extremely successful at B-Sides Kansas City. B-Sides Kansas City. And so we are going to do that again out at Layer 8. So stop by if you actually are going to be there. Hit us up. Let us know that you listen to OSINTCurious or any of the other stuff that we do, and then we'll help out law enforcement out in Rhode Island, go through and see if we can help get some information in regards to some missing persons cases as well. If you're not,
any chance that's going to be streaming?
So we talked about that a little bit. If you are part of the OSINT.team group, which again, it's free to go through and be part of OSINT.team. I think you either need Twitter or GitHub or something like that to log in. It's not a problem at all either way. We will be doing it remote. I don't know that we're going to be streaming it. We may go through and see if we can try to get it streaming, but we will have it remote. So it will be up on the OSINT.team site where we can post leaderboards, people who want to go through and play who are outside of Layer 8. So if you have to go through and get partnered up, or if you want to lone wolf it, you can just sign up over on OSINT.team in the Layer 8 channel, and then we will register you. We'll make sure you get into their Slack. At that point, we'll go through and share the CTF web page and all that, so with all the clues and all the flags, all that stuff. Anybody who is not present can play, but the people who will be awarded prizes, which I think are Hunchley licenses and Bazell training. So I think whoever wins first place, I think gets Michael Bazell's online training for a month or something like that, however. So it's pretty cool. But only the people who are at the site are eligible to go through and win. But it is an awesome, awesome, awesome way to go through and flex your OSINT skills and see what you can come up with and kind of play around with stuff. And it's also OSINT for good, which is always something we want to go through and encourage as well. The only other thing that I have is we did start a local OSINT meetup group in Kansas City. It's called INTKC or INTKC. As long as I can keep that name. I don't know. It's kind of dumb. So, but we do meet the last week of every month out here locally in Kansas City. So if you're part of SecKC or if you're part of the Kansas City group, SecDev KC Ops or something like that, B-Sides KC, if anybody's listening from that side, you want to know more about OSINT, we do a 2-hour meetup the last week of the month, every month. We just had our first one. It was successful to the point where people showed up. So that's all I've got really. Other than that, we'll just keep making more attempts, and we are going to go through and I think broadcast that. So if there are people that want to go through and check it out either after the fact or if they want to join live but they can't actually be in the physical space, we'll go through and keep that going there. So that's about it. That's all I got.
All right, and I am rejoining the Rocket Chat, the OSINT.team.
Sure.
I fought with the iPhone app before and got fed up and left, but I'll try it. I'm going to put it back in because I know that it's a good spot, and we keep telling everybody, even I, in all my classes, say go to OSINT.team. So
yeah. So I guess one thing also we did not mention that I totally spaced on, and we should go through and mention, I know this is at the end of the show, so I'm sorry if people are already tuning out or whatever, the Intel Techniques Forum. Did you see anything about that? I
saw that maybe it's shutting down or something.
Shutting down, yes. So a lot of the stuff, and there were a bunch of contributors there. So there was just too many attacks. There were too many people who, for whatever reason, really just wanted to keep screwing with the people who were really trying to do a lot of good and contribute to that OSINT community. It is officially shutting down. So I think, I don't want to say a lot of people are going to migrate to OSINT.team, but OSINT.team will be one of the only true forum type communities out there, whatever, that dedicates to OSINT. There are other ones, like I know CyberStew has a couple Discords on there, and that's the Mini Hats Club. Shout out to them. Shout out to Thug Crowd. They've got some OSINT stuff on there as well. There are a lot of people who have Discord channels for InfoSec specific groups, and then inside those groups they have OSINT channels and things like that. However, OSINT.team is one of the only places that is all OSINT all the time. And again, just because I'm an administrator there doesn't mean that I'm pimping it for any other good reason. But it is sad to go see Intel Techniques forum go away, because I've been on that thing for many years, and I really thought it was a valuable place to go through and meet a lot of people and learn techniques and things like that weren't common knowledge for a lot of people. But it's just because of a few bad eggs that kind of spoil everything, or apples. I don't know what the expression is, but they're bad people. Don't talk to them. So.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it's hard to run something that once it gets to a certain level of notoriety,
Yeah.
And so right now, like the OSINT.team, at least you have Rocket Chat backing you up. You're not like owning that whole infrastructure.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I know there's no way that I would want to run a forum like that, and
right.
run it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, even the Slack stuff, when we were doing the open.osint Slack, which was amazing because I really like Slack as an environment, however, but like because it was a free tool, we only had the 10,000 message limit on there. We were losing valuable information that people were putting up there, and they were losing actionable things that people were working on inside there, and so we had to move away from that because we couldn't retain the knowledge. And that was really the point of bringing all this stuff together, was we wanted a space for people to go through and to work on projects together, to build together, to get feedback, to ask questions, all that. So it kind of defeats the purpose if you can only go to a certain point and then it starts auto-erasing the stuff. But that's another tangent for another day, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Awesome. Okay, so I think we are out of here. Does anybody else have any questions from the audience? Anything else? Chat's going crazy. Kirby, thank you for not making this me alone talking to myself for an hour. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. And you only made me talk to myself for about 5 minutes.
I don't know what the hell happened, but I'm sure that it's my fault. So
No. Whichever. I think that is probably going to be clipped from the recording. So people, if you want to see this stuff live and see our fubs, you probably better come up and do it live next time.
Yeah. It's always unique. Also, if the video on this side, however, is totally screwed up, we always go through and release this as a podcast. Kirby is gracious enough to go through and strip the audio and put it up some places. So we'll get that.
Micah strips the audio. I just stick it up on the
okay. All right. You could have totally stolen that.
Yeah, it's not my style.
All right, I will stop bothering people. This has been Ginsberg51 and Kirpster, OSINTCurious. We're out of here. Have a good one, night.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.